Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Your Keys to Mastery for June 22nd, 2022. For those of you who do not know me, my name is Arlene Grace. I'm an intuitive energy coach, master numerologist, and channel. Now, if you are coming to these videos at any time, know it may be because you are inspired to hear a message here, that there actually is no timestamp for these videos. And to always take whatever resonates for you and to just leave the rest behind, allowing yourself to be open to hear these messages. And so if you've been journeying with me this week, there's been this theme of I decide to live. I decide to live my life. I decide to love the life that I have, right? I decide to see, to sense, to know, to do what I love. I decide to choose me. And in that, I decide to value that, to see that as my service, my expression in the world. And so today, the energy is really inviting in our intuition and to play with the idea, the thought that not only do I have a soul, I am a soul, and we are not separate. And so today, I decide to trust myself. Today, with this energy, there is this opportunity to fall into the patterns and to notice our own thinking patterns, to notice where we are resistant to change, to notice where we are, again, playing with this human virus of the mind, where we are going outside of ourselves in order to receive the validation, the love, the wealth, the all of the things, right? The support, all of the stuff where we actually are being invited to know that everything is here. All that we need is here. And that when we feel into, per se, our partner, we're desiring attention, or we're desiring, I don't know, a message or love or cuddles, that when we can feel into ourselves and feel okay and ask yourself, what is it that I'm actually desiring? What is it that I need? That we can actually fulfill ourselves with that energy first. Oh, I need love. And I'm going outside of myself to receive that from my partner. And so I give it to me first. What does love feel like flowing through my body? And in this, then noticing where we are in resistance. So if you've been journeying and you've been deciding, I decide I'm going to choose me, and I decide that I'm going to do what it is that I love, that the resistance comes when the other piece, whatever it is that you are now being inspired to let go of, starts to fall away. It starts to fall into entropy. It simply happens. And it happens right before our eyes, and we can feel it energetically. And many of us go and we try to hold on to it. And so notice, we'll use relationships. How many of us in the past, in our younger relationships, did we decide, oh, I'm not going to be with that person anymore? And so you decide it, right? And so in the control of it, many of us are wanting to, text the person, call the person, tell them it's done. I sent emails, and doing all of those things so that we control the experience. And then you let them go, and then you try to hold on to them again. You try to pull them back. You try to, they are filling something that you need. Perhaps comfort, support, love, validation, whatever that energy is. And so we resist the falling away, even though we've decided to have something. I decide I'm going to be wealthy. I decide I'm going to play with wealth. I decide that I'm going to play with the possibilities of what is available to me. What is it that I love? I love making gadgets. And so I'm going to begin a business of making gadgets. And then suddenly their job starts to fall away. Suddenly they're being called in for meetings. Suddenly they're noticing that people are being let go, laid off, all of those things. And they resist what they are journeying towards, the gadgets. And so they try to hold on to something that is falling away, the natural falling away of things. We see it all the time. It begins to, life, things begin to dematerialize. When you're driving down a country road and you take a look at a barn, I don't know if you've ever noticed this, but there will be that barn that's in the far into the field, and no one has been giving it any focus. And so you notice holes in the roof, or you notice things are falling away. You notice a wall is falling away, and you wonder, wow, what happened there? It's dematerializing because no one is giving it any energy. No one's giving it focus. And so things fall away. And it's our job to focus our mind in the direction of what it is that we want. This also happens in the healing spaces. When you go to a healer or to a coach and they clear the thing that's in your body and you're like, yes, it's clear. Well, it's your job to maintain that energy. It's your job to maintain that focus of well-being, of, oh, I'm coming into mind and emotional mastery. I'm going to do the work. I'm going to keep focused in that direction. But many of us in this energy, we continue to go back to the healer, to the mentor, to the coach, because we aren't doing the work and staying in that focus. And so today, your invitation is to trust you, to understand what trust feels like, trusting yourself, trusting your soul, trusting your higher self, the guidance that comes through. Have you ever watched a baby? And a baby will, come in, and they're coming in survival, right? They're coming in because they must cry in order to be fed, smile to get love, cry to get a diaper changed, all of those things. But they trust that it's going to happen for them. It's the parents that respond, or the caregivers that respond. And in that, as this child is growing up in full trust, especially if loved and nurtured and cared for, they are trusting those that are, taking care of them. And as they continue to grow older and they do things perhaps that are unsafe, i.e. they run across the street, they're told, hey, don't do that. And they're, slapped energetically. And so they stop trusting themselves. They understand safety. They start to learn safety of the material of what's happening. Do not cross the road without looking both ways. But in the other things that they do, they're told, conditioned, whether or not they can trust their own decisions. Many of us go outside of ourselves to receive decisions from someone else so that we can then blame or shame the other for making the right or wrong decision, right? And so in this place, many of us go outside of ourselves for trust, an illusion. Many of us don't trust our own decisions because of that conditioning. And so many of us in the later years have a hard time trusting ourselves, but it begins with a decision. I decide to trust myself. And what does that feel like in my body? Trust for me in my body has this soft quality. What does trust feel like in your body? When you say, I decide to trust myself, I decide to trust my intuition, what do you feel? What do you notice in the body? What do you notice in the mind? Is there some chattering? Are you willing to decide to trust yourself? And are you willing to allow for yourself to be inspired in spirit into whatever your next action is in order to land into that trust for yourself. And we do that simply by, I decide to trust me. And what does that feel like in my body? Does it feel easy? Do I notice an energy there? And I can feel the stomach starting to tighten up. Okay, stomach, tightening it up. What if we just invite in some trust there? And so I direct the flow of trust into my stomach. And for me, it's beginning to open up. So just notice your own stomach. I'm going to invite it down to my legs because I can feel it stiffen. And I'm going to allow this trust to move through my entire body, down my arms, to my wrists, up into my heart, my throat, out my back, all the way up. And just notice the shifting energy that's happening. And as you feel this trust, what is the quality? What is the texture of the energy? Is there a color? Perhaps there's a voice, a smell, a taste. What do you sense? Are you willing to trust yourself? Beautiful. And as you feel this trust that's in your body, you ask this energy of trust in your body, okay, what is my next inspired action? And just feel what bubbles up, what comes in through the mind, through the body. And then you act on it. And that starts to deepen your trust for yourself, trust in your own guidance. And I can hear the mind because I can hear some of you and they're like, oh, well, I trusted myself before and I've gone and I've done the things and it was the wrong decision, you know, hindsight 2020, I shouldn't have done these things. And yet at the same time, what if you were guided to do something that was going to show you something else? It was showing you something else that you were not willing to receive. In this energy today, your invitation is to receive life and to trust it and to receive everything, to receive all of the information without correlation. And when I say correlation, without making the usual connections of the brain, the usual connections of, oh, my partner has done this, which means I must do this. Oh, my partner has sent me flowers. What does that feel like? Ah, I received that. Ah, I just received a message from one of my clients. I'm just going to receive that. Oh, it's sunny outside as I walk. I'm just going to receive the sun. I'm just going to feel that. I'm going to love my life. And I'm going to receive life without making the necessary correlations that the mind can do. I'm simply going to receive it. I'm going to receive the feedback from life. I'm not going to judge it. This client is telling me they don't want to work with me anymore. Okay, I'm just going to receive that information. Beautiful. We'll let that fall into entropy. What action is that inspiring? Okay, awesome. Next session, last session. Oh, I'm going to receive this. And so there's this beautiful opportunity to flow with life today and trusting yourself in it, trusting that you will intuitively know where to flow to, where to go to as you receive, to know that the information that you are receiving today, everything that you are receiving is just an opportunity to see, is this part of my focus? No, I'm going to pivot this way. Is this feedback that I'm receiving from this person? Is this something that I desire? I'm going to receive it. Is there anything to do with it? No, move on. This is how we start to play with life. And to notice these spaces in between, the spaces in between your experiences. In the spaces in between your experiences, are you trying to fill it? Is that when you pick up your phone and start scrolling? Is that where you're trying to fill it with, oh, I'm going to go and I'm going to do the laundry, and oh, I got to go and do this, got to wash the dishes, and oh, there's a space in between. I got to, no, today play in the spaces in between and notice. Notice the spaces in between your experiences. Are they actually full? Full with an opportunity for you to just be in presence. We're anchoring into the now with all of this journeying, anchoring into the present moment, all time being here. My power to change anything here as I receive the feedback from the world, from life, from others. I have the power to change it here. And so I luxuriate in the space in between, and I allow life to happen for me. Because all of this feedback is me. Beautiful. Questions, comments, please feel free to share, and I will be happy to respond. Wishing you all the most extraordinary day. Happy hump day, and I'll see you in the spaces. So much love. Bye for now.